The best lenses for any form of photography. Choose the finest lens for any form of photography. When it comes to DSLR and mirrorless cameras, there's an almost infinite number of lens options to select from, so figuring out which one is ideal for your photography may be difficult. Choosing the most appropriate lens. It's critical to examine what you'll be shooting and how you'll be using the lens to make the best option for your photography. This will help you figure out what kind of lens you'll need, whether it's a prime or zoom, what focal lengths will be most beneficial, and what aperture you'll need. What is the finest portrait lens? For portrait photography, any lens from 24mm to 200mm may be utilized. However, I prefer to use my Hasselblad 80mm f2.8 and Hasselblad 100mm f2.2 lenses. This is equivalent to about 60mm and 73mm and 35mm format. Close-ups are popular with 50mm and 85mm prime lenses, whereas full-length images are popular with 24mm and 35mm prime lenses. The 70 to 200mm zoom lens is one of the most popular zoom lenses for portraiture. What are the best product photography lens? Macro lenses are excellent for catching objects, however Hasselblad 80mm f2.8 or Hasselblad 100mm f2.2 lenses are perfect and which aren't macro lenses. Macro lenses are a great option, especially for capturing little objects, but they're a lot more expensive. A 100mm lens will enough for most types of product photography if you don't want to spend the money on a specialized macro lens. What is the best lens for food photography? In most food photography seminars, mostly three lenses are used: a Canon 100mm f/2.8 macro lens, a Hasselblad 80mm f/2.8 equivalent to 55mm and 35mm format, and a Hasselblad 100mm f/2.2 equivalent to 67mm and 35mm format. Popular zoom lenses like the 24 to 70mm and 24 to 105mm are other alternatives to explore. If you have a 70 to 200mm lens, it might work as well, but you may need extra area to accommodate the focusing distance. What is the finest landscape photography lens? Because of the flexibility they provide, wide-angle zoom lenses are the most popular choice among landscape photographers. 10 to 24mm, 16 to 35mm, and 24 to 70mm are popular focal lengths. Prime lenses, on the other hand, are excellent for landscape photography. 14mm, 24mm, and 35mm are some of the most frequent focal lengths. You can even photograph landscapes with a basic 50mm lens. What is the greatest wedding photography lens? Award-winning wedding photographer David Stanbury on a live chat show shared his list of go-to lenses. David's lenses include the Hasselblad 80mm f/2.8, which is equal to 55mm and 35mm format, Hasselblad 28mm f/4, equivalent to 20mm and 35mm format, Canon 70 to 200mm f/2.8, and Canon 24 to 70mm f/2.8, which he uses with both medium format and full-frame cameras. Prime lenses like the 50mm, 85mm, or somewhat wider 35mm are also popular wedding photography lenses. Macro lenses, such as the 100mm, are also useful for photographing little details. What is the best lens for sports photography? The 70 to 200mm f/2.8, 80 to 200mm f/2.8, or 100 to 400mm f/4.5 to 5.6 are popular alternatives if you're looking for a general-purpose lens for sports or action photography. Although prime lenses with longer focal lengths, such as 300mm or 400mm, are preferred to zoom lenses for keeping up with the action, prime lenses with longer focal lengths, such as 300mm or 400mm, can also work if you don't require zoom. What is the best lens for wildlife photography? For those just getting started, telephoto lenses like the 70 to 200mm can be a good option, but for something a bit more serious, lenses like the 100 to 400mm, 200 to 500mm, or 150 to 600mm are among the best options. Nature photographer Chris Bale, who utilizes the 500mm f/4 and 800mm f/5.6 for his work, which includes a lot of bird photography, recommends improving your understanding before changing your gear. What is the best street photography lens? For street photographers, tiny and lightweight gear is generally the first choice, which is why many select prime lenses like 35mm or 50mm. These aren't the only possibilities, though. Prime lenses may be a terrific method to get you to move about and try new things, but they don't have the same versatility as zoom lenses. Lenses like the 24 to 70mm and 24 to 105mm are excellent alternatives if you want a little more flexibility. Another lens to consider is the 70 to 200mm, although it's a little heavier than the others and lacks the wide-angle characteristics that are so handy for street photography. Thanks for watching and do subscribe the channel.